What was your is this which serious moment? A customer came to pay for some lessons and I swiped her card upside down, so I had to swipe it again. She caused a scene stating I charged her twice. I just sat there with a monotone I only charged you once every time she took a second to breath. A woman claimed to have left her money at home while I was working one day after she ordered 2 sandwiches. They take about 10 minutes to cook. I said that's okay. When you come back they will be ready. She said she wanted the sandwiches first and that she'd be right back after she and her daughter ate because they live right around the corner. I said if you live right around the corner you'll be back before the sandwiches are done. But I can't give you food before you pay. She lost her crap on me. It was wild. She left with no food and didn't come back. Edited changed preferred to ordered. 20 years ago. Girl tried to fight me in a bar. All I did was look at her funny. Unintentionally. I was going to the bar for a round of drinks and forgot the order. Happened to be looking at her when I was lost in thought. Anyway, she challenged me outside. I couldn't believe it. I'm 6'1", 220, and she was small. Anyway, the bouncer heard her and kicked her out. She was still in the sidewalk an hour later when we left. Followed me to my car pushing me and punching my back. It was surreal. Used to work at Disney World. It's 9 AM and a lady comes into our guest services demanding a refund on her turkey leg because it tastes weird. We ask her details to process the refund. Turns out she bought it 3 days ago and was carrying it in her bag since. When I walked into the apartment I shared with a friend, and it was covered in vomit because her dog ate a pillow and had puked it up. 2 days earlier, the living room was covered in dog puke and she had just sat there in the middle of it. She thought it was funny. I called a moving company on the spot and arranged for the first appointment they had and put my stuff in storage while I found a new place. That was my last room at. A customer once sent back her steak tartare because it was, and I quote, severely undercooked. A couple sat down at the movie theater 15 minutes into the movie. The lady sits right beside me and is holding a full conversation at full volume with the man barely acknowledging her. I politely ask her to lower her voice as it is distracting. She stares forward for 2 minutes before leaning over. Maybe if you weren't listening to my conversation, you wouldn't be distracted. I was too livid to even respond and the movie was ruined. Edit. The movie was Wonder Woman. I have definitely gotten employees for jerks at the movies. But I felt like I might punch this lady if I looked her direction. Either way, she did lower her voice after that. There was a girl in my class who was such an idiot, and she would outwardly disrespect the professor all the time. This one time, while the professor was talking, she started to whistle. He stopped class in disbelief and asked her why she was doing it and why she was being disruptive, and she said it's a thing she does without even thinking. And then whistled again and was like, see. Ex-girlfriend got a friend to send stay away from armrest fulcrum messages to my colleague and then denied all knowledge. Nope, that one. My sister's mother-in-law opened up all her wedding gifts and packed them away while she was on honeymoon. It's been 3 years since, but I'm still mad thinking about it. When a customer accused me of making her come back for her prescription refills every month, when we were restricted to fill 1 month of medications at a time. No exceptions. The government made everyone aware of the restrictions and people still got upset. But that took the cake. Someone asked if I could break a $100 bill in pennies. I just looked at her. Looked around to make sure I was definitely not currently working in a bank. It was a bakery. And said sorry. On multiple occasions I've had mothers try to leave their kids with me because I'm in childcare. I literally have to stop telling moms I'm a nanny because I end up getting a strange baby plopped in my lap. The worst was at a park. I was chilling and reading. A mother sits next to me on the bench with her baby. We start chatting a little. Oh, your baby is such a cutie. Stuff like that. The switch stands up. Places her baby in my lap. Diaper bag next to me and says she'll be right back. Didn't ask. Just put her baby in my lap and walks away. The time this mother yelled at me for saying excuse me. Her and her family were taking up an entire bike path, including the shoulder. Instead of cutting through them, I moved onto the shoulder and cheerily excused myself as I passed her. Didn't touch her, and she didn't really have to move, since I managed to squeak by it as I passed. She started screaming a bunch of crap. Well, she did not expect me to come to a screeching halt and ask if there was an issue. She promptly hid behind her husband and wouldn't even look at me. All that energy for what? This one girl in my class loved to apply perfume whenever she could, despite the fact that the girl sitting next to her was very sensitive to fragrance. One day she sprayed a whole bunch on and the girl started having a coughing fit and then a migraine, and was sent to the nurse's office to calm down. When the teacher asked the girl why she did that, all she said was, "What's the big deal? It's not my fault I don't like people sometimes." I had a volunteer come up to me at the public library I worked at and demand that I tie her shoelace. I was 5 minutes early to service a home for pests. She yelled at me for 2 minutes about how inconsiderate I was, and then told me to wait in my truck. Her husband then pulled up and asked what I was doing and invited me in. She then continued to yell at me about how I shouldn't have come in because she said to wait until the appointed time. Her husband apologized and told me to just leave and gave me $20 cash. I called my boss and explained the whole situation and we blocked all her account information. I didn't leave him in the car that long. Plus the windows were cracked. My mother-in-law. The last time she was ever allowed to watch my oldest child. He was 2 and it was 90.f. I was heavily pregnant and had to sit on my hands the next time I saw her because I wanted to cave in the Italian leather handbag she calls a face. Lady standing outside the grocery store this weekend harassing those who went into the grocery store by saying stuff like, "If you trust God, He'll remove your masks." I was biking on a bike path. Man and his family taking up both lanes. I wait. Finally proceed to go around in the grass. Man says you can't do that. A former friend told me about how they'd threatened to send people to hurt someone after a disagreement. The worst part was, they clearly expected me to find it cool and quirky. Needless to say, I didn't. Coworker gave me the whole "we're all in this corona thing together and have to sacrifice together" speech. Then called a departmental meeting, excluding me, to bully our supervisor into making sure that 100% of lost hours and lost income from scheduling changes and cuts fall on my shoulders, while all of her and her friends' paychecks remain completely intact, because he's just a part-timer. We are the real team here and not him. Technically he's not entitled to any hours at all, so it's okay to cut them all. My income for the month dropped over 50%, while the real team that I've been a part of for 5 years didn't lose a dime. Happened a few days ago. Customer hasn't paid their bill in 5 months and was in bad standing even before coronavirus. We actually agreed to waive her late payment fees of 3 months. Bitch then has the audacity to demand that we remove 75% of her bill, then demanded to speak to the CEO when we obviously refused. Told a friend that I didn't really feel comfortable around them anymore because of their recent aggressive behavior. Naturally they threatened to throw me and my girlfriend in jail. This just happened to me a few days ago. I was walking my dog, who is not child friendly, and we were coming up on a woman and her small child. I could tell the kid was gonna make a beeline for my dog, so I crossed to the other side of the street so there wouldn't be any issues. This lady yells, "What? My kid can't pet your dog?" As if her kid was just entitled to touch any dog she wanted to. I said he's not good with kids. Sorry, and she yelled back whatever, which I was stunned. Honestly, thought about that interaction the rest of the walk. But had I just let her kid come up to my dog, that kid probably would have gotten bitten. In high school, a person I knew, thought to be reasonably intelligent, who had recently been accepted to UCLA and later went on to be an attorney, asked if rape was a new thing, or had it been around a while. I had a customer ask me how many ones I could give him if he gave me a $20. I told him $19. because I was charging a finder's fee. He told me that was a great deal and slapped down a $20. We were at a bank. I was his bank teller. I unfortunately get this a lot. UHM. You can't be Middle Eastern. You don't look Middle Eastern. I usually say. And what does every Middle Eastern person look like? Makes them uncomfortable. For reference, I'm pretty pale. W freckles. Blue eyes. And otherwise my face definition looks like a Middle Eastern woman. You all heard of the Crusades? My mom and GMA are both full Middle Eastern and look similar. My wife and I got in an argument. She was acting irrational. Basically she thinks she is a mind reader and thinks anytime I'm not in a good mood it's because I'm angry with her. So she was angry with me for me having a bad day at work. She said I was always angry with her ABD, she was sick of it and she wanted a divorce and move out. I had like a brief out of body moment where I visualized myself married to another woman. Happy. And with kids. So I said then we should get a divorce, not thinking she was serious. She is moving out in mid-June now. I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't realize how much I wanted it until she brought it up. Someone from my physics class just said that seconds are smaller than meters. We are in high school. I do not know what to do with this information. When my dad screamed at me for roughly an hour and a half about how he doesn't care about me, how I mean nothing to him, and how I'm not his daughter. The next day he asked to borrow money for cigarettes and energy drinks. I met some old family friends at my job. I told them that my father had died. One says, well, at least you can have your own life now. I took care of him and no one forced me to. He was my best friend. My ex was wife at the time. Woke up one time while we were sleeping. She started hitting me. And I mean hard. For no apparent reason. I wake up due to the pain of being punched like crazy and think WTF. What happened? Did I accidentally stick it in while she was asleep? Nope. After about an hour of her being pissed off, she finally told me that she had a dream that I slept with someone else and she felt the need to beat me when she woke up. Yay. That was my "is this witch serious?" moment. When my ex who cheated on me got jealous that I had a female friend. The moment I met my mother-in-law, and every moment with her to follow. A friend and I recently discovered one of the new PhD students our biomedical science program accepted is anti-vaccination. How? Why would you go into biomedical science if you don't believe it? What is even going on? I was a bouncer at a club. At the end of the night when everyone leaves we lock the doors so the staff can count the money. As I was standing outside guarding the door, a woman came up to me and asked to go inside so she can look for her keys that she lost. I told her that she would have to wait until the staff is finished, then I would let her in to look for her keys. She threatened to call the cops on me. She said she was gonna call the cops and tell them I was putting her life in danger. Now guess my race and guess hers. When they don't leash their dog, like some witch in Central Park.